Today in famous battles, we're going to look at the first, second, third and fourth battles of the Champagne region. There are many other famous battles, but nothing rings really clear as the French Battle of Champagne, which only involved French and German soldiers. So let's hop right into it. The first Battle of Champagne, which is Boigny Battle de Champagne, was fought from the 20th of December 1914 to March 17th, 1915 in the Champagne region of France, of course. The second offensive by the Allies against the Germans since mobile warfare had come to an end in the fall of 1914, and it was after the first Battle of Ypres near Flanders to stop the German advance. The battle was fought by the French 4th Army and the German 3rd Army, the first offensive part of the strategy by the French army to attack the Neuilly salient, a large bulge in the new Western Front which ran from the Swiss border to the Northern Sea. The first battle of Arthos began in the northern flank of the salient on December 17, 1914, and the offensive against the southern flank of Champagne began on the third day after the attack on Arthos by the British. The second one, on September 25th, 1915, 20 divisions of the 2nd Army and the 4th Army of Groupe des Amis de Centre, the Centre Army Group, attacked at 9:15 am, with each division at 1,500 to 200 yards of front. A second line of 7 divisions for 1 infantry division and 6 cavalry divisions in reserve. 6 German divisions held a line opposite of the front position and a reserve position of Arstoulon-Staric reserve position further back. French artillery observers benefited from a good weather, but one night on the 24th or 25th of September, heavy rain began to fall near midday until midday. The German front position was broken in 4 places, and 2 of the penetrations reached as far as the Arschling, which uncut barbed wire prevented the French from advancing any further. The French took 14,000 prisoners and several guns, but French casualties were high as well. The Germans had anticipated the French attack after being able to watch the French preparations from their high grounds and outposts. The main defense effort was made at the Arschling, behind which the bulk of the German field artillery had been withdrawn to, and a supporting attack by the French 3rd Army and Essene took literally no ground. Joffre allotted 2 reserve divisions to the GAC and ordered the Groupe des Amis de l'Est Eastern Army Group to send at least all 75mm cannons and ammunition, except all 75mm guns and their ammunition, expecting no less than 500 rounds per gun. And the 2nd and 4th Armies of the 26th of September, the French attack began and closed the Arschling on a 7.5-mile front and gained a foothold in one place. Another 2,000 Germans were captured by the attack against the Arschling from 27th to the 29th of September, broken through the 28th, and the German counterattack the next day recaptured the ground, most of which on a reserve slope, which had deprived the French artillery and ground observation. Joffre suspended the offensive until more ammunition could be supplied, and the order that captured ground could be consolidated and cavalry units be withdrawn. Smaller French attacks against German salients continued until the 30th of September to the 5th of September 1915 to 16. The 3rd Battle of Champagne really was not the very best. It was part of the Nivelle offensive, so there's not really much on it in the fact that there's a lot of French casualties, so In the end, it was like one big push at Champagne to take the Germans back from the second Battle of Champagne, but it failed miserably, so it was only one miserable attack on the third Battle of Champagne. It did get a little bit, it did capture the first lines, as Indy Eindel said, but the second line is always the hardest to capture, so it was just one major push at the third Battle of Champagne. Don't take my word for it, you can go research it, but the third Battle of Champagne was basically centered around the Nivelle Offensive in 1917 and the French mutinies in 1917 as well, so not much was done at the third Battle of Champagne. But the fourth Battle of Champagne, let's finish the fourth battle. Now, the fourth battle began on the 15th of July 1918 when 23 divisions of the 1st and 3rd Armies led by Bruno von Muda and Karl von Immen assaulted the French 4th Army on the Henri Gunrod. East of the Rhine, the 4th Battle of Champagne, which is the 4th Battle de Champagne, and the US 22nd Division was attacked by the 7th Army under Max von Buren, aided by the 9th Army under Johannes von Eben, attacked the French 6th Army led by Jean Godot at the west of the Rhine, and the second Battle of the Mountain of the Rhines. Ludendorff hoped to split the French into two. The Germans attacked the east of the Rhine, which stopped at the first day, but on the west of the Rhine, the offensive fared better. The defenders of the south bank of the Marne did not escape the 3-hour bombardment under cover of gunfire. Stormtroopers swarmed across the river in every sort of transport, 30-man canvas boats or even rafts, and began to erect skeleton bridges at 12 points under the fire of those Allied survivors who had not been suppressed by gas or artillery fire. Some Allied units, particularly COL Ulysses G. Alexander of the 38th Regiment of the US 3rd Division, Rock on the Marines, held fast or even counterattacked. By the evening, the Germans had captured a bridge either side of the Dormans, 4 miles away deep and 9 miles wide. Despite the intervention by the 225 French bombers, which dropped 44 short tons of bombs on the makeshift bridge, the British XX-11 Corps and 8,500 American troops joined the French in the battle and stalled the advance on July 17th, 1918. So this is basically during the Michael Offensive, where the fourth battle is a German offensive instead of a French offensive. And to conclude, the Allies counterattacked. The Germans failed to break through or destroy the Allied armies in the field, allowing Ferdinand Foch, Allied Supreme Commander at this point, to proceed with the planned major counter-offensive of July 18th. 24 army divisions from the French, including the American 92nd and 93rd Divisions, under the French command joined by the other Allied troops, including 8 large American divisions under American command and 355 tanks, attacked a recently formed German salient. Allied preparations were very important at this point for countering German offensives. It was believed that the Allies had a complete picture of the German offensive in terms of intentions and capabilities. The Allies knew the key points of the German plan down to the minute. There was a legend, possibly true, that Engineer Captain Hunter Grant, along with help of engagement coordinates and Engineer Captain Page, devised a deceptive ruse. A briefcase full of plans of American counter-tank was handcuffed to a man who died of pneumonia and placed in a vehicle which appeared to have run off the road, a German-controlled bridge in the German salient. Finding it and being taken by these plans, he adjusted their attacks to taunt and thwarts the fake Allied plans. Very interesting. There's been an instance of this very late, like July 1944, with the Soviets and the unknown man with the briefcase and the Nazis, but this was one of those fake plans. It has been used throughout history a lot, but this is the first modern briefcase kind of thing. So they thwarted their plans and actually tried to rearrange their plans around the fake document. And in 1918, 9 American divisions, about 243,000 men, joined 4 French divisions to push the Germans from the Saint Mihiel salient, which is basically their Michael offensive. Saint Michael in French. By May, Foch had spotted flaws in the German offensive, and the force which defeated the German offensive was mainly French, with American and British and Italian support. Coordinating the attacks would be a major problem, as Foch had to work with 4 national commands, but without any real authority to issue a offensive in his own name. So everyone was together, but at the same time, Pershing was leading his army, Foch was leading his army, Cadorna was leading his army. They were all a 4 coalition army, but everyone was leading themselves. So in the end, they did stop the Germans. And Gibson wrote about American troops in the First World War and said, "I never saw men charged to their death with such finer spirits than those men." And on August the 1st, French and British divisions, on the 1st of August, French and British divisions of Mangin's 10th Army renewed the attack, advancing a depth of nearly 5 miles. The Allied counterattack penetrated out on August the 6th in the face of the German offensive. By this stage, the salient had been reduced and the Germans had been forced back to the line running along the Asan and Basil River in front, that had been shortened by 28 miles. So they basically ran back to the Hindenburg line, where they would basically stay until it was broken. So the Allies never invaded Germany, but they pushed near the Rhine River. So in a sense, this is the 4th Battle of Champagne. Okay, this is a brief summary and a brief rundown. First Battle of Champagne, the start of trench warfare and the stop of mobile warfare, and a costly counter-attack to get the Germans out of the Champagne region and back into the Rhine. Second battle was the same objective again, but in winter. The Second Battle of Champagne, fun fact as well, if you were listening to the Pétain episode, is where Pétain tried to get his ideas off of the ground before Verdun, with superior firepower and mass infantry, not really a charge, but with more finer weapons. So this is where Pétain shined kinda, but also failed as well. So that's fun to know. The third battle was near the French mutiny and was part of the Nivelle offensive, so it did not achieve much, and the Germans easily counterattacked. Well, didn't even need to counterattack. The French just gave up and went back to Paris. They did not want to quit the army and be a socialist thing, and that the army should withdraw like Soviet Russia, but they did not want any suicidal attacks. So the third battle was part of the failed Nivelle offensive, and the 4th battle was part of both the Michael offensive and the 100 Days offensive. The Michael was the Germans trying to push into Paris after the Soviet Union signed the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk. After they signed the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk, and the fact that it was another counterattack, which was the 100 Days offensive by the Allies to push the Germans back almost near the Hindenburg line at that point. So first battle, end of trench warfare and tried to get the Germans out of the salient. Second battle, same thing but with Pétain methods, but failed horribly. Third battle, a French mutiny and Nivelle's poorly meticulous offensive. And the 4th battle, a 2 counterattack, a massive offensive, Michael's offensive, the Michael's offensive, and the 100 Days offensive. So the 4 battles of Champagne. The most costly behind Verdun, I should say, the most costly. It even involved 4 armies, and you can hear Italians were near 10,000 casualties, Americans were nearly about 5,000 to 800,000 8,000 casualties. British were like 10,000, but the French had like 200,000. So it was a 4-army coalition on the Western Front. So Champagne did really join a lot of nationalities, and it was the most bloodiest day for the Allies. Honestly, the most bloodiest battles, especially for the French. And while not living up to Verdun, as in terms of the most iconic battle, I believe Champagne was a well-chosen sector. So that's pretty much it. I think I did say about the Russians again, so that's pretty much it. I'm going to edit now, so I hope you learned something. Next week we're going to do land, air. No, we can't do land, air, and sea. I need to restart my computer, so... Well, I'll think of something. There's 10 things to do. And the thing with Homefront, I'm going to do Homefront for every Pacific person. Like, the French won, and then they had many other colonial wars and the fall of the French Empire. Or more easier, the Soviet Union for Russia. Or same thing for Britain, but their empire, American, becoming a global power. But there's going to be one big end all for everyone. So it's going to be like a whole 30-minute thing, but we'll get to that bridge when we cross it. Thinking about doing Belgium, and that's pretty much it. So I will see you all later. Learn something.